The Toyota RAV4 is the latest of the big family SUVs to offer a plug-in hybrid powertrain. But it does look like it could be one of the best because it does have a pure electric range of up to 46 miles, which is some 10 miles better than most of its obvious rivals. More than that, it also charges faster than those rivals. But it also costs some £48,000 and up. So you're looking at, roughly the same price as a Volvo XC60 plug-in hybrid and even a long-range pure electric Ford Mustang Mach-E. Or to put it another way, you're looking at £10,000 more than an equivalent full hybrid Toyota RAV4 or Honda CR-V. Before we get any further into finding out whether the plug-in Toyota justifies its price, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the Car Gurus UK YouTube channel and turn on notifications so that you don't miss any of our videos. It is not cheap then, the RAV4 plug-in hybrid, but there are still plenty of reasons why you might choose it. Probably not for the very slow opening powered tailgate, but you do get loads of space in the boot when it is open. It's 520 litres of space and you get some really neat cable storage under there, which I really like too. The back seats are really spacious too. We'd like these doors to open a little bit wider maybe, but once you're in, loads of legroom, plenty of headroom as well, and it's just a really comfy place. There is no 7-seat option in the RAV4 though, which it has to be said there is actually on the Honda CR-V. It's a really comfy place to sit up front of the RAV4 as well. In fact, I really like the fact that it feels like a proper SUV. There's nothing of the crossover sort of hatchback about this. You sit nice and high, visibility is really good. You also get heated electrically adjustable seat, which has got loads of adjustment. Keyless entry, you get all of the driver aids that you could want, including adaptive cruise control, your contrast roof, your 19-inch alloys. You get pretty much everything you could possibly want, to be honest. You also get this big 9-inch touchscreen, which has got loads of features. But before we go a bit more into that, and before we talk about what this is like to drive, here are 5 things that you need to know about the Toyota RAV4 plug-in hybrid. The touchscreen system does get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Toyota's own nav system, and everything you want really. Graphics aren't as good as on some rivals, and I have to say some of the settings can be quite difficult to find. It's got voice control as well, but station BBC Radio 2.
Station not found. Try again.
You'll be lucky to get it to actually work. It's super easy to change the climate control since Toyota has resisted putting the switches in the screen. We also really like the rubberised finish to the climate control switches and door handles. The RAV4 will charge at up to 6.6 kilowatts from a normal home charger or AC public charging station, which is almost twice as fast as many of the alternatives. That means that you'll get a full charge into the 18.1 kilowatt hour battery in around about 2.5 hours from a home wall box, or a standard domestic socket will do the same in 7.5 hours. There are 4 driving modes to choose from. You can of course stick it in pure EV, you can stick it in hybrid vehicle, you can also stick it in auto when the Toyota switches between pure electric or hybrid as it sees fit, and you can also choose to charge the battery from the 2.5 litre petrol engine should you wish. It's a comfortable, roomy and really well equipped place to spend time then. But what's the RAV4 like to drive, and is it efficient enough to make up for that price? The first thing I want to say is that you should completely disregard the official government figures associated with this or any other plug-in hybrid, because the tests that are done, they just spit out MPG that's just completely misleading. So with the Toyota, it's claimed nearly 300 MPG. You could get that if you're plugging in all the time and very, very rarely using the petrol engine, of course. But in reality, if you're trying to figure out if this will suit your lifestyle and save you money on your petrol bills, well, the best thing is to look at the electric range it does in the real world, which we've found is to be about 35 to 40 miles, so really pretty good actually by plug-in hybrid standards, and then think about how efficient the car is thereafter. We've found that it's doing about 55 mpg, and that's just sticking it in auto, EV and hybrid mode and letting it do its own thing on fairly fast country roads actually we've mostly been on, so I think that's fairly good. That's in part I think because maybe Toyota's long experience with hybrids is showing, but even with very little battery charge, the RAV4 plug-in hybrid still switches quite often into pure EV mode. When you're coasting, even on moderate throttle at higher speeds on the motorway, this kind of thing, it really is pretty good for that. And I would also add that actually the RAV4 system is quite interesting because it's a bit different to most plug-in hybrids. So you've got electric motors on the front and rear axles, so even in pure EV mode you've got four-wheel drive, which a lot of rivals, including things like the Volvo XC60, you don't get that. So that's really good for traction in kind of muddy conditions and that kind of stuff. The petrol engine actually doesn't drive the wheels in this very often. It can and does drive the wheels directly when it needs to, but more often than not, that petrol engine, when it's running, is actually just topping up the batteries. And it works as well. The interaction between the petrol engine and those electric motors is pretty smooth. You don't really notice it too much. There's a bit of a buzz and a vibration when that petrol engine kicks in, but most of the time it's really easy to ignore. With those 2 electric motors and the petrol engine, all of that stuff combined, 302 brake horsepower in this car, and it'll do 0 to 62 in 6 seconds, which I have to say just seems, well, frankly unnecessary for a RAV4. The only thing I would add about the plug-in hybrid technology is that the RAV4 has got a 1500 kilo braked trailer limit, which is pretty low. Certainly the Volvo XC60 offers significantly better, and so does that standard full hybrid RAV4. If you wanted to, you can stick the Toyota in sport mode. You even get some swanky red dials and all of that stuff, and it will shift. It really does actually go quite quickly if you want it to. Whether you want it to or not is another question, because this car definitely feels like it's happiest just being driven quite sedately. I don't mind that. I think it being, like I said, quite an unashamed sort of old school SUV feeling car is a good thing, and the fact that it majors on refinement, when you're not accelerating too hard at least, and comfort, well, I think that's what it should be doing really. And let's face it, even with a big power output and a hearty sprint time, quiet and comfy is exactly what a RAV4 should be. This is then a really, really good family car, and I really like the way it drives. I like the sort of unashamedly kind of old school SUV feel that it delivers, along with that kind of cutting edge plug-in hybrid technology. It's all really good, but even with the efficiency of that electric range, it really struggles to justify the price as a retail buyer, especially since the finance costs are really high as well. So basically, I think for company car buyers, this is really recommendable. One of the best of the plug-in hybrid SUVs, in fact. But for retail buyers, it's just a bit too expensive. And I'd say that your money's better off with one of the pure electric alternatives or a cheaper plug-in hybrid or full hybrid alternative. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the Car Gurus UK YouTube channel, and turn on notifications so that you get told whenever we get a new video out there. And check out Car Gurus UK for a whole host of fantastic used cars from top-rated dealers.